Okay, so we have our validation for the register route complete. So let's go ahead and get rid of this past thing right here and let's continue on. Now remember, request.body should have the name, email, and password. So I'm going to destructure and pull that stuff out. So let's take out name, email, and password, and that's going to be from the request.body. Now what I'm going to do is create a try catch, because I'm going to be using async await here, dealing with the database, also dealing with bcrypt, which also returns promises. Their methods will return a promise. So inside this try here, I'm going to set, we first want to check to see if there's a user with that email, because if there is, then we want to return a message that says that user already exists. So I'm going to use let here. And I'm going to say let user equals await. Now I can't use await unless I mark my function as async. So up here where we have the request response function, this arrow function, I'm going to mark this async. Okay, so now we'll say let user await, and then we're going to take our user model, and there's a method we can use with Mongoose called find one. And we can find a user based on any field, and we're going to use email. So we want to say find the user by email with the email variable right here. Now since these are both the same, we can use ES6 and just simply do email like that. Okay, now we want to check and see if user, so if a user exists, then we want to return a response. We're going to say res.status. And again, I'm going to send a 400 status, which is a bad request. And then let's say JSON, and I'm just going to pass in an object with a message that says user already exists. Okay, and then let's we'll just move on from here. I'm not going to do any testing yet. So if the user doesn't exist, then let's take that user variable that we initialized above and let's set it to a new user. So now we're using the user model to create a new user, and we're going to pass in the fields, which are going to be the name, email, and password. Okay, and this is the same as doing, name, email, password. So now we have this user. Now it hasn't been saved in the database. It's simply created a new instance of a user. So before we save it to the database, we need to encrypt it. Okay, we need to encrypt the password, or hash the password with bcrypt. So I'm going to create a variable called salt, because we need something called a salt in order to actually encrypt the password. Now bcrypt has a method called gensalt, which will generate a salt, and it returns a promise. So instead of doing gensalt.then and all that stuff, I'm simply going to do await and then bcrypt bcrypt.gensalt, and it takes in a number of rounds. I'm going to use 10, which is the default. This just basically determines how secure the the salt is. And then we can take that salt and we can hash the password. Now I want to take the user, which is this object right here, and take the password, which right now is plain text, because remember, we have the plain text password coming in. We set it here to the new user instance. So we're going to take the password, and instead of using a plain text password, we're going to use the hash. So the bcrypt.hash method also returns a promise. So we're going to use await, and let's say bcrypt.hash. And this takes in two things. It takes in the plain text password, which is just password, and then also the salt, which we generated here. Okay, and that will give us a hash version of the password, which we're then assigning to this user object. So the last thing to do after that, well, the last thing, to save it in the database, is simply call user. Actually, this returns a promise, user.save. So we're going to say await user.save. Okay. Now, as far as what we want to send back to the user, I'm going to send back a JSON web token. So we're going to do that in the next video. However, I do want to test to see if the user actually gets put in the database. So right now I'll just do a res.send and I'll just say user saved or something. This is just to test it out. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's jump into, well, actually let's handle our catch. We didn't do that. So if there's an error here with the server, let's just do a console error, and we'll throw in the error.message. And then as far as a response, if something goes wrong, I'm going to send a 500 status, which is a server error, and I'm just going to say .send and just say server error, like that. All right, so let's go ahead and try it. So we have right here our request, which is going to be to API users, post request, and I'm going to send this data along. Actually, I usually use jdoe@gmail. Now the password is plain text. I'm going to leave this, but it should get hashed through bcrypt. So let's go ahead and try it. We'll send, and we get a server error. So something went wrong. Let's look in our console. We get bcrypt is not defined. So nice clear message with this error.message. So let's make sure we bring that in. So require bcrypt.js, and you can see why I don't want to output this message to the user. The user doesn't need to know that bcrypt is not defined. We don't need to send that through our API response. This is just for the developer to know. That's why we just console logged it. So we brought in bcrypt. Let me see, is there anything else we didn't bring in? I think that should be good. So let's save it and we'll try it again. So we're just going to click send again, and we get user saved. Now let's make sure that the user was saved by going into our MongoDB Atlas, and let's go into collections. And here you'll see we have under test, we have users. So this is the users collection, and it has an ID, underscore ID, which is an object ID. That's something that MongoDB inserts automatically. So that's the unique identifier. We have the name that we sent in, the email, and then the password, as you can see, is this long hash. So our password is not stored as plain text. We had bcrypt hash it, and then we have the date, and this, you don't have to worry about this underscore v. But yeah, we now have a user in our database. Now in the next video, we want to handle the correct response. We don't just want user saved. I want to be able to log in right away when we register in React in our front end. So in order to do that, we need to get the token sent. We need to basically sign a JSON web token and send it to the client so that they can store it and use that to basically access protected routes. Okay, so we'll continue with that in the next video.